Hi and welcome to another live match, this time at a very cold Tunnel Barn Farm for the Teams of Four Winter League. This is round 5 and I've been drawn on House Peg 22. Now I thought the ice would be quite thin because we've only had a few days worth of frost and I was quite surprised that it was nearly an inch thick where I am. Some of the lake hadn't got any ice at all, but then round the back here it was pretty thick, like I say, nearly an inch thick. So our normal cutting method, which is an old cart pole that Phil Canning's got with a cutter on the end, just wasn't doing it. So I've had to put the breaker through it. Well, me and Phil did it. I've cut a channel to my left there, out to 11 metres, and then I cut a channel to my right, but it broke up. So I've got a big open bit in the middle as well. Now I'm not expecting to catch a lot, but you never know. Hopefully some fish will be under this ice. Now I started the match to my left, dobbing bread, started short and worked my way out and never had an indication. So I'm right at the end of the ice now and I'm trying to get a bite here and I can't get a single indication. Nothing at all. The chap on peg 19, I forget his name, he got off to a great start. He had a fish within about the first 10 minutes. And that gave me a bit of hope, but I couldn't get a bite anywhere. So after having a dob around on that left hand line, I thought I'd drop a little tiny ball of ground bait in and see if I can attract anything in. So I've got a little tiny ball of crushed expander with a bit of F1 darking to darken it off. I'm just putting a little tiny ball in, no feeding it at all. Now where I'd broke out to my right, it kept reforming, the ice did. So I had to keep dragging my cup through it and breaking it up before I can go and fish it. Never happened on the left hand line. I don't know why it was happening there. Maybe it was that little bit colder there in a bit more shade, but it kept freezing back over. After having a bit of a dob to my right as well for no indications, I thought I'll try a little bit of feed. So I'm putting a single red maggot on and I'm tipping it with a fluoro pinky. And then in the cup, look, here's me watching him play another fish. He's had a couple now. So I'm putting like 3 maggots in there and 3 pinkies. So I've got a total of 6 particles in the cup. And I've got a maggot and pinky on the hook. And I'm miffed as to why he's catching and I'm not. That's winter fishing. It can happen like that. You can be sitting on a pile of fish or sitting on no fish. You've just got to hope that at some point during a match you'll get a bite or even a run of fish. It's a bit awkward getting the rig in this side because of all the ice reforming. Even when I've just broke it with the cup, still wanting to freeze around your pole. So I've spent 10 minutes there, I've not had an indication again. So it's time to go and have another look somewhere else. Single red maggot, hook through the pointy end. And there I'm getting a fluoro pinky out and I'm hooking that the same way. Just a bit of a visual bait. I'm popping a cup on. I'm going to put a tiny bit of maggots in. It's probably only about 3 or 4 maggots there. I'm going to drop it in front of me. The depth does differ slightly on each line, so I've got a rig for each line. "10 minutes on there, never had a bite. So I'm going to go back over and see if I can get a bite where I've put that little nugget of ground bait. Probably an hour into the match now, and I've still not seen a sign of a fish. And I think Peg 19's got 3 or 4 fish. I feel convinced that at some point during the match I will catch something. I've decided I want to go and have another quick look on my right before I go over that nugget of ground bait. It's already had a feed, this line. With that first drop in, I put 6 particles in, 3 maggots, 3 pinkies. I can't imagine they've all been eaten. But you never know. Tap a few more in and see if I can get a bite. No, nothing. So back out to the left where that nugget of ground bait is. And nothing again. Back out in front. Nothing. Back out to the right. Absolutely nothing. Cannot get an indication anywhere. So back out to the left. I've gone a little tiny bit further now, and I've put 4 or 5 maggots in. And I've dropped the rig in behind it. I'm only fishing 4-bit. Oh yeah, look, there's a fish. And I get my first bite 2 hours into the match. I'm fishing single 6 original slip elastic on these rigs today. I'm not expecting to hook any carp or have any fish that are going to run me ragged. And there's no better elastic for this type of fishing, I feel. Shallow water, because it is quite shallow around the back of this island. And the F1s don't seem to be very big in here, plus there's a lot of stockies in here. I wouldn't mind it being on a few of them today, to be honest. Yeah, look, there's me happy. Look, I got my first fish. Happy days. Saved a drying. You can see the fish aren't that big in here, and this one's actually fair looked. So that bite I had was a liner. I'm dropping a few more little pinkies in the pot. Only a couple of 3. I'm going to see if I can catch another. I've got a little more hope now I've had one, so let's hope we can catch some more. Putting my glove back on. It's ever so cold today, so cold. Plus I'm sitting in the shade, look. I've got my heated jacket on, I've got my heated footwear on. It's just my hands that are a bit chilly. I've started throwing 2 and 3 maggots in front of me. I've just missed a bite as well. Don't want to be doing that. And I missed another one. I'm pretty sure them are liners. I've got a feeling these fish are off the bottom. So I'm going to get my dobbing rig. I'm going to set it a few inches off bottom. 6 inches off bottom. I'm going to put a maggot and a pinky on the hook. I'm going to put a pot on as well. Well, I've already put the pot on while I was out fishing actually. So I'm going to try it a few inches off the deck and see if I'm sitting above the bait. And not wanting to go down. Little pinch of maggot in the pot. I'm putting them in singular near enough. Ones and twos. I'm not putting many in at all. I'm trying to restrict how much I put in. There's no need to give them much feed. So I'm shipping out. I'm going to sprinkle that bait in. And then lay the rig in behind it. This rig's got most of the shot under the float, and I've got two number 12s down the line, so it's a really slow falling rig. And like I say, it's going to be about 6 inches off the bottom. And within a matter of seconds, I have a bite. And I feel like I've cracked it. These fish aren't on the bottom, I'm sitting above it. Let's hope this works now for a few fish. That single 6 elastic is perfect, absolutely perfect. I'm fishing out 10 up clamps, size 18 SFLB. The float on this rig is a 4x10 F1 pellet. Like I say, most of the shots underneath the float. It's got a wire stem, so it cocks pretty quick. And the last two droppers make it sink just nice. I'm not rushing this fish either. It's not a race at all. I just want to try and make every fish count. And that's an half decent fish, that is. Hooked perfectly in the top lip, look. And that's, like I say, it's about 6 inches off bottom, that is. So I'll try that again. Another maggot on, another fluoro. Tiny pinch of maggots. Tiny pinch of fluoros. Fluoro pinkies, that is. And back out there. I'll drop my glove back on in a minute. And me sitting here thinking I've cracked it. I never had another bite doing this. Not a single indication. What do I know? Anyway, back on my other lines. Quick look here in front of me. Still no bites here. Got to clear the ice again. You just won't get a rig through that if you don't. No bites on that right hand line again, so back out to the left. I'm using my X50 pole on this today as well. Because I'm not going past 11 metres, the furthest I'm going. This is as good as any pole at that length. Up to 13 metres even. It's as good as any pole I've got. Or I've used even. And there's a tiny indication that was. that's resulted in a fish on. I've only got a narrow channel this way, so I've got to be careful that I don't catch my elastic on the edge of that ice and risk breaking the elastic or shearing it off. So I've got to concentrate with any fish I hook. He's in the spread bag. That's back on the deck, that is. Using my deck rig, which is, like I said, it was a 4x10, a 4x10 F1 maggot, this one, with a strung out shotting pattern. You can't properly flick your rig out or anything because of the ice. You can lay it so as it falls quite slowly. And I've got another one here. It's tiniest of indications they are. It's no wonder the bites are so delicate. These fish don't want to be swimming around. I feel quite lucky that I've managed to pull some into the peg. He's still catching on peg 19. He's not bagging, but he's catching steady. He's certainly got more than me. And it seems like his fish are a lot bigger than mine as well, his F1s.
Well, let me catch up, will you? Oh, I ain't got half as much as you.
He's up lovely as well.
Hey? Hey? See, oh, look, I got half as much as you then.
And he's just said to me, you're catching me up. He's got 8 fish. I've now got 4. I've got exactly half of what he's got. And I think his fish are bigger anyway. Always looks that way when you're looking at somebody from a distance. He got to his peg quite late this morning. And he never broke far out. He only broke out at about top 4. So his peg, it's got hardly any water to fish compared to me. But he's catching so many more fish than me. Makes you wonder sometimes, have you done too much? Tap a few more maggots in. Let it settle. And hopefully get another bite. And there's one. Happy days. Getting a few bites now. Concentrating on that elastic, making sure it's not touching the ice when it's shipping back. Taking my time. Not rushing him. And there we go. Notice that one's foul hooked again. So he was obviously just above the bait. Another decent fish. It seems the bigger fish I've had have been off bottom. I know I've only had 5 fish, but the one that I had on the dobbing rig, shallow, was quite big, and so was that one. So he was obviously off bottom. He was sitting above the feed. Get another one here. That number 6 elastic's working perfectly. It's best to go back to solid elastics when you get frozen water and really cold conditions, because any hollows will just lock up. I don't know why, but hollow elastics won't work as well as solid elastics this time of year. That's a fact. And that one's back in the mouth. Same rig again. Fish, what fish are coming into the peg are coming in at different depths. It's hard to judge. It's hard to know what to do for the best. Still fishing a red maggot and a fluoro pinky. I'm putting the tiniest amount of feed in. Incidentally, I never had a bite over that ground bait. These are all right at the end of the swim, right up against the edge of the ice. I'm hoping at some point I'll catch some over where I've been loose feeding these maggots. But I won't hold my breath. There's another. In you go. So all these fish I've caught have been over an hour's spell. I went the first 2 hours without a single indication. Then in the next hour I had 8 fish, all from the same line. And I never had a single indication anywhere else on my peg at all day. But I'm not complaining, because at least I'm catching something. Nice to get a bite in these bitter conditions. I mean, on the day, a few people went dry, never had a single indication. So I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones. Even though I'm getting a right battering off the peg next door. Well, peg 19, 3 pegs away. With hindsight, I'd have brought this peg to my left further along, so I could have got further down the peg. And this is the last fish I hook. I've gone 2 hours without a single indication, and then right on the whistle, I hook a fish. It's foul hooked. It's not a big fish either, but it's foul hooked towards the back end of him. I'm just taking my time just to try and make sure I get him out. And there goes the final whistle. And I'm missing with the net there, and that costs me. He fell off. That was annoying. So I've ended the day with 8 fish, all out the same hole. Not a single indication anywhere else in my peg. But like I say, I was happy just to get bites. The chap to my left, he ended up winning the section with £50. Couldn't believe it. He's had a lovely day's fishing. He also framed as well. My 8 fish went £12 and 10 ounces, which helped the team towards 4th on the day. So no complaints. We've had a good day and we all caught some fish. So we're halfway through the league now and we're in 6th place. So hopefully we can keep progressing from here. If you enjoyed that, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more like this, then please subscribe and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.